I'm here with actor Fajer Kaisi, who has just had two pretty big projects come out in the last week or so. So before we dive deep into that, let's talk a little bit about when you first decided you wanted to become an actor. Way back yonder, right?
Picture this.
Yeah,
a
Sicily,
balmy summer evening in Baghdad. No. I don't often know how to answer this question because I find my first touchstones into acting were like things like The Muppet Show, and what is that amazing thing those felt puppets are doing?
For those who don't know, he is a hand puppeteer.
Yeah, right. No, but beyond that, I discovered the actual act of acting really late. I didn't do it in high school or anything like that because I went to high school I don't know how to translate these terms because high school, middle school, all that stuff is different in Canada, where I went to school. I went to École Secondaire, grades 8 through 12 in one chunk, but it was all French because if you're the son of an immigrant in Quebec, for the preservation of the culture and the language, go to French school. And I had a hard enough time just kind of like figuring that out. I did, but it was also like years after that before I even figured out how to like open up or be funny in French or speak in front of people. But when I went to CEGEP, which is sort of a preparatory school to university in Montreal, I joined the theater club just because I was looking for an extracurricular. And it was that same feeling of like that I had when, I saw the Muppet Show when I was a kid. It's like, what is this amazing, crazy thing that's happening? These people are getting laughs. This guy's in drag. This other person is doing a stage combat routine. It all kind of, it was a synthesis of a lot of the things that I was already interested in. And I was hooked.
Was your first inclination that you liked comedy better, or you liked all aspects, comedy, drama?
My first gig was I played Colonel Mustard in Clue at the Champlain Theatre Club. It was a 3-performance event. We rehearsed for like 2 months. It was ridiculous, but it was.
I love how you framed it, that it's an event. That sounds so like something today.
It wasn't a run, right?
Yeah.
It was like
not a run. Right.
It was like we're doing it 3 times. Catch it if you can. And,
don't blink or you'll miss it. Right.
And it was that kind of thing where we raised the funds ourselves. We got we sold adverts in the playbill and things like that. We got a little bit of money from the school, but it was sort of grassroots, and we kind of made it happen. And it was my first entry, and I was just, I think getting your first laugh is.
Was it beneficial to you that it was in person and in front of
a
live audience in theater?
I was definitely on the theater path for a long time after that.
What made you switch?
I don't think I have. I'm still doing theater.
Still doing the theater, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to the Guthrie in a couple of weeks.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Got a lot to talk about at the end of this interview then.
Sure.
Before we get to the end though, let's start somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
So when did you first move to New York?
I moved in 2007 after I did grad school at UT Austin.
Did you come here knowing anyone?
A few people, but it was more like the older class from UT. And did I know anyone else? Yeah, there was some ancestral sort of Longhorn. I don't want to say mafia, but there was a group that you connected with, and I'm still in touch with some of them. Yeah.
And now you came from Baghdad originally, you said, right?
I was born in Baghdad.
It's
a longer story. I don't know how long your segment is. But I was born in Baghdad, and we emigrated, or my mom and I left when I was 2, and my dad joined us later in Kuwait, and then emigrated again right before the Gulf War. My parents had a sense for it. We don't really talk too much about it.
Yeah. Well, that was good
because
planning on their part.
Trauma, and
of course.
Also, when I was 8, we moved to Canada, and so I'm a glutton for punishment. Triple immigrant.
There you go. Yeah. Got a great passport going though. I bet. So when you came into New York, you said you had primarily been doing theater. but you did also book quite a few roles on New York television and films.
Yeah, my first gig, my SAG entry gig was 30 Rock, which
Yeah.
was that was a pleasure. Got to work with Tina Fey and Jane Krakowski. I was the hot dog vendor in season 2, episode 2. If you guys remember, I say something accented. I don't remember exactly. I am wanting the foods. Oh yes, very good, very nice. That was it. Yeah.
Did you find roles like that, even though they were a little smaller in nature, that you were able to hone some of that comic timing that you were?
It was
interested in?
definitely. I don't know if it's more of a challenge or if it's the stepping stone thing. If it's like you've got to pay your dues with these roles.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely like you got to go in and be able to land a joke with one line,
Right.
and move on. And I think there is a craft to that. I didn't know that at the time. I think I was, terrified audition.
So all of these answers are now coming from a place
of hindsight.
Of
and
hindsight,
I guess,
yeah.
And reflection.
What was the biggest role and your longest role that you booked once you got here to New York, in terms of how many appearances?
It's been about 12 years, right? So I've come back on Madam Secretary, but I don't know if I was the same character. I've been a translator on Madam Secretary on several seasons.
And you were also on Daredevil.
Yes, yeah.
What was that experience like? Did you worked with JLE?
Yes.
Yes.
We actually didn't know. We got dummy sides. I didn't know until the day of that's what we were shooting.
Interesting. I interviewed Jay. He's lovely.
Yeah, he was a very cool guy, and very short, very quick kind of family scene that we shot together to give him something to fight for. I think in the storyline.
It didn't end well for him.
I imagine. Yeah.
You prepared him to fight, but you didn't prepare him well enough. For anyone who didn't watch the final season, that's your fault. It's been out for a while. So, coming into the acting world, did you feel that you had a challenge in not being typecast into certain roles? And what did you do to kind of push forward to that?
I think it's still there. I think the industry's still in a weird place
yes.
for brown actors, and the world is in a weird place because that's still happening, and we still want to tell stories about it. But I think, being of the community, it's on us to make sure the stories are told fairly, and the representation isn't crazily skewed towards this villainous portrayal that we have right now. So yeah, I always have encountered those auditions, and I have some rules for like when and how to play those. I find comedic terrorists okay. I find that fine. I find taking the piss out of them is exactly what we need to do, and I don't know, maybe I'll put a target on my back somewhere, but
in this day and age, there are no brown hair. There are just terrorists at this point.
Right.
It shouldn't even be a thing now.
Correct. You're right. And it wasn't
actor.
before, and 9/11 changed our perspective and our optics for it. I'll remind everyone of like the people that we were talking about as terrorists in the 80s were like Sinn Féin in the IRA and things like that, and now I think there's a Sinn Féin party, isn't there? So
I'm not sure.
Did
you came? You were here in America when that happened, right?
9/11? No, I was.
Oh, not 9/11. Sorry, I'm thinking 11. You weren't here yet.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the challenges, if you're open to it, of being a brown actor in this industry and people fighting for inclusion, whether it be Asian or Indian or.
I think the challenge for all minorities and ethnicities is we don't necessarily want to be seen as minorities.
Absolutely.
Which is a challenge, which is a weird thing to say because we also want to honor the fact that we are minorities. It's a contradiction.
It is, but it's got to be challenging because you want to be authentic to who you are as a person.
But you also
don't
want to just be a
caricature
person
of a person.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like the thing with white people is they get to. It doesn't matter that you're white, right? You're the baseline. You're the normative sort of standard.
Right.
If you're a white character, and therefore protagonists can be white and it not have to mean anything about. We don't have to dive into like, oh well, he's Irish or Polish or whatever,
or
Italian,
mafia,
we don't,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, and but with us right now, it's like it's a thing. It's got to be commented on. Except there's exceptions, and I love those genres and things like that can do that. For some reason, sci-fi kind of skirts around that, presumably because we've either kind of figured that stuff out by the time we have to go to space, or I don't know, or not.
It's interesting, the shows that handle characters played by minorities, if they're doing it in a positive way and not stereotypical, and that kind of thing. I feel like that's somewhat changing.
But even that, I want to see it. I don't want to see a show about an Asian guy that's good at math. That's another weird stereotype. That's kind of, I don't know if it's harmful, but it's certainly not the truth. I don't know if I can throw that word around. But
I mean, to say all people of this ethnicity are this or that, or it's just
a slippery slope for really dangerous stuff.
Slope.
But also you want to honor and be representative of those characters who are of your nationality or close to your nationality, because there's so few of those stories. We're hungry to grab onto them. So like when Scarlett Johansson gets in the public eye for saying that she wants to be able to play anything.
Right.
I think she maybe doesn't understand the environment of scarcity that the rest of us are in, and that negates that experience.
Right. It's like almost you see the point of she wants to play many different parts because she became an actor to challenge herself.
But so did we.
Then in that, but in that respect, you're now taking away projects from people who are actually from that nationality or that country or whatever it is. And to that end, I know you're writing a web series, correct?
I'm writing a bunch of things right now. I wrote a web series. I was trying to get it shopped around, but it's still out there. And I'm maybe shifting focus, trying to write other things as well.
Yeah, is it with the advent of all of these other platforms that you can get projects out on, have you found that to be an avenue that you've been successful in? Because you can be on a YouTube channel, you could have a web series and put it up for...
I will say I'm hopeful. I don't think I've been successful yet because I don't know what I'm doing.
But you've had the opportunity to do it and to also write what it is that you're close to.
I think the challenge of that is that I picked writing, and I don't necessarily... there's still a transitional step in like producing and midwifing the thing into creation after you write it. And I'm still kind of figuring that out, to be honest with you.
Did you find that the urge to write
came out of a lack of
representation,
a lack of those parts, or a lack of the chance to be funny in long form, if you will. And it's not to say that there aren't seats at the table for, funny brown or minority or other actors.
Right.
But it seems like there's always a limit or a cap of only one, and no any more than that, and we whoa, we got to change the menu.
It would be great if people could just be cast on their talent alone.
Right, a meritocracy, and I don't know if that's possible, and because it's not representative of the politics that we have in the country right now either. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I know that we have to keep working because we haven't figured anything out.
It doesn't seem like we're heading in that direction either.
Yeah,
for a while.
I was talking to my mentor, the person that recruited me into grad school, Franchelle Dorn. She's a classical actress. She's down in Texas, and in her 30-year career, she's a black lady, but she's only played black characters twice. And I don't know if that's because she focused on classical stage stuff and there's more leeway in that, and why is there more leeway in that? And I don't know.
Let's talk about your film that just came out.
Right. Yeah. I'm really proud of this one. Yeah. It was. It's a really important story in light of what's happening actually right now. I mean, do I discuss the points of the plot, or is there spoiler alert? Do I say spoiler alert?
You can say spoiler alert and then edit yourself appropriately.
Right. So the movie follows Daniel Jones, who's a staffer in the Senate, and he's tasked with uncovering sort of, talking about the truth behind this enhanced interrogation document protocol that we had in the government. The waterboarding,
right.
the cramped space stuff that we were doing to prisoners and the people that we were holding. There was a paper trail of that, and people wanted to have oversight of it, and somehow a lot of this stuff was happening kind of without everyone or almost anyone knowing about it, and it was torture. The United States was practicing torture, and not practicing it I don't want to say well, but we weren't getting anything out of it. It was just it just sort of cheapened our national character, and I think people like Daniel Jones and Ali Soufan, the character who I played, were national heroes in what they were doing. Ali Soufan is an interesting character. He's one of the only Arab-speaking FBI agents. I think there was 8 or 9 at the time that he was in the FBI. He left, and now there's 8. And there's all kinds of weird security issues about hiring people who aren't naturally or born here citizens, but that cuts you off from a whole slew of people who are actually exactly what you need to fight terrorism. People who can speak the language or understand the culture.
Did you learn anything new with this project when you were working on it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, horrifyingly new, or?
I mean, yes and no. No, I don't think anything was that horrifying. I'm pretty jaded because I live in this geopolitical soup all the time.
Right.
You should see Thanksgiving at our house.
We'll be having that very soon.
But yeah, I'm sorry. About Ali, he was an interrogator for the FBI, and he was one of the people that cracked the case, so to speak, about who was responsible for 9/11. He figured out through a series of, underlings that it was Osama bin Laden, but it was he was interviewing someone to figure out who KSM was, and it was all through the technique that's been working forever, which is rapport building. You talk to the people and you get them to open up. They also have all these crazy narratives about what America is and what we are and what they're doing. They're practically brainwashed, and
that's not just exclusive to.
No, it's not. I mean, we got the American Taliban going a little crazy over here right now. The chosen one. I kind of lost my mind when I heard that. Anyway.
There are so many things that my mind has been lost over, but
I'm saying a lot of political soundbite things out of context, but yeah, I'm referring to
100%.
The Rick Perry thing.
Yeah, 100%. Did you find it more challenging playing the part in the day and age that we're in? Did you feel like you had
You mean because he's a real person?
Because he's a real person. Was there a heaviness to you knowing that he was a real person, and that there was an extra pressure to that?
I mean, there was something I wanted to honor. I think it made me sort of approach the work with more reverence. I don't think I was afraid of it, though. I think it's just like a different methodology or a different approach. I don't think I look too much like him, so there's things that you can't really fudge or change about yourself.
Right.
But I listened to some of his videos. He had a pretty good 60 Minutes interview at the time, and tried to find any sources about him. I read his book, got in his head as much as I could. Did some ethnography work on his speech patterns and his dialect, and the rest is like, you want to do all that, but you also don't want to mimic the person, right? So you want to allow the character to live truthfully inside of you, even while you're using the mechanisms of dialect and.
Well, you want to put your own stamp on it,
right? Or just feel it as a human being, feel the scene as a human being, truly in the moment, and not try to parrot something that I don't know if that's and I think that we found that, and I think Scott Z. Burns, the director, was really good at sort of corralling that and making that happen. And you can also see it with Dianne Feinstein. I mean, Annette Bening plays her, and she doesn't look like her, but she got her voice and her mannerisms, and you sort of just suspend disbelief like you do with a lot of things.
Well, the clips with the movie with Charlize Theron playing Megyn Kelly, in one of the in that one. She was like she was so transformed. It was you couldn't tell the difference.
Wow.
At some point, yeah, she was. It was interesting when somebody can transform themselves that much, where you don't even realize
that they were
the person. Yeah. What was the primary reason that you got into acting, and do you feel that it's still the same today?
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it is. I think so. I mean, I don't know if I knew then that that was the reason I got into acting, but it seems like the mission for me has been all about sort of addressing and dealing and unpacking the feelings of not being represented.
Right.
I've always had this thing about, when I was a kid, I loved vampires. I didn't really understand what that fascination came out of, or what, vampire games, movies, all of it. And it sort of dawned on me later that this idea that vampires didn't have reflections.
That's interesting.
And that they couldn't see themselves, and couldn't see their, and how not having a reflection can then make you monstrous became sort of a thing that I wanted to untangle and, tease out.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I won't say that we don't have any reflections, but I would say that our reflections are skewed and warped, and they're not who we really are. Like Maz Jobrani has a bit about, like, just once show a Muslim baker making a cookie. Like,
right.
That exists too.
Right.
But in our heads, we don't think that. We think that part of the world.
Right. I feel that as a gay man, that there are certain things that I don't feel are represented truthfully and are skewed a certain way.
Right.
So like it's interesting that even though we're from two different countries originally, but now live in this great country, we do have similar.
All kinds of parallels.
Yeah, so many parallels, and I think people really need to sit back and listen to it and not be, oh, this actor's preaching, shut up and just act. Nothing is more irritating to me than hearing shut up and just act, or shut up and just saying.
It's disingenuous, because acting and activism have always been and are interlinked. And when you're acting, you're telling a story, and stories are vehicles for empathy. It's all you get into a room and you sit in the dark and you put yourself in the place of this person that you're watching.
And are you telling your plumber to shut up because he can't have an opinion? It's the most insane-making, well, one of many insane-making things. But what do you, to escape the heaviness of everything, and what do you do to kind of decompress and chill and zen out?
I play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
I do a lot of sketching. I draw. I'm a bit of an amateur illustrator.
What did that passion come out of?
Comic books and stories.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started drawing comic books when I was a teenager, or illustrating that form or that genre. And for a while, I thought that's what I was going to do, and like wind up in storyboarding or something like that. But it's all of a piece, right? It's all serving storytelling. It's all serving a thing. And I think I feel more of a responsibility as a minority actor to sort of make the right choices in that way. And now as a creator, or as someone who hopes to be a creator or an IP creator, to like put that stuff out there in a way that is truthful and, I don't want to say responsible, but not irresponsible. Right.
Do you feel, this may come out wrong, but do you feel more naked as a performer or as a writer? Or are they naked may not be the vulnerable. Vulnerable, that's the right word. Stay tuned in the next 5 minutes when the vest comes off and
no, I don't feel as naked anymore as a performer, I think, because I'm familiar with those mechanisms. Writing is a little new to me, and I think I'd probably still feel those nerves.
Do you feel the vulnerability though is the same in your part that you're playing versus the part you're writing for someone else to play or for yourself to play?
It's a really good question. I don't know. I think it's all you when you're writing. It's like it's from like a part. There's no one else to like say, well, it was the director, or the costume was tight, or the sun was in my eyes, or whatever. You put those words on the page, and they represent something that you thought, and there's a direct link, right? or maybe that's just the way I'm thinking about it right now because it's more, in the front of my mind. But I feel like with acting, and I've experienced this. I've done some stand-up and as an amateur many, many years ago, and that was terrifying.
I was going to say that's got to be
That's
terrifying.
the kind of terror of like being a writer and performer at once in the context of just you on stage.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's an interesting question to pose myself if I could ever do it again, but it wasn't for me at the time. I needed the crutch or the thing of character or story to have around me. It was fine. It wasn't like a bad set or anything, but it was just like not a good feeling.
That's a kind of a dangerous line too when you're trying to be a comedian and not trying to stereotype yourself by making jokes about a certain ethnicity or a certain. So that's a real fine line you have to play.
And it's easy material to like. It's low hanging fruit, right? Like, a lot of times you get known as that comic.
Right.
And I know a lot of people that make their bread and butter off of that, and that's fine too. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to. I think that's more of the same problem in a way, which is it funnels us into a lane that is still like the minority sidekick a little bit.
You said you read comics in your teenage years and younger. What sort of comics were they? Superhero based? Were they
a lot of superhero based stuff? I love the X-Men, and I love the sort of when I was a kid the social justice message in there. At the time, I didn't realize that's what it was, but Spidey, I could identify with Spider-Man probably because I was a bit of a nerd.
Yeah.
So.
Who would you like to play if you had to pick one?
I mean, I don't think there's one that exists that we could, put a. There isn't a brown superhero, right? Like you have to kind of write one or create one.
That's why you're writing now.
Right. But I'm excited about Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel. That's going to be an interesting project because she's a Muslim character. And the story also kind of deals with some of that. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. It's interesting that when someone who's Muslim gets judged based on something, it's almost as dangerous as. It's almost like you're targeting a Muslim person as you're going to be a terrorist, but there are white supremacists who are terrorists and aren't Muslim people. It's just
aren't thought of as well. Terrorism
so
is
weird.
is foreign.
Yeah,
is shorthand for not from here. I think that's the thing that we have to re-examine in our linguistic sort of definition of the thing. It's the act of terrorism causing harm to civilian populations for a political ideology. Right. That's what it is, and that means that white nationalists are actually the biggest terrorist group in the United States, and you have more of a chance of getting into a problem with them
100%
than any. Not to say that the ISIS or Taliban or any of those guys aren't a problem, but
there's a difference between trying to minimize somebody else's terrorism role and also recognizing that terrorists are terrorists regardless of where they come from.
It's jingoism at the end of the day. It's jingoist. It's really easy to blame others and visible others, right? That's the thing. And we are visible. We are a visible minority. The way we dress, the way we look.
On our next interview, I hope we've come a long way. Fajer, thank you so much for taking the time to meet up with me and continued success.
I can talk comics the next one for 45 minutes.
Yeah. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
And can I plug something?
You can plug anything you want to.
If you are so inclined and you have enjoyed seeing the Mo here, please log in to my social media. I'm at Dear Fajer, DearFajer, and there's a link there for my Movember. I'm raising money for men's health and men's wellness, and mental health especially is an important cause for me. And I think, we should put our money where our Mo's are.
Did you ever consider that was going to be a subset of your career, that you can use your platform for advocacy?
I mean, I never did, and I still don't think I have a platform. I've got maybe 1,000 people that pay attention, but I figure any little bit helps.
Absolutely.
And yeah,
because you don't know, those 1,000 people
might
could see,
put it to other people,
and it could
right?
snowball.
And who knows? This whole, acting is weird. Every time I'm doing it, at some point in the run or in the process, I'm like, my job is weird.
Yeah.
But I love it, and I love what we're able to do with it. And I think it's all about the story. And I think I'm calling back something I said earlier, that the story is a vehicle for empathy, and that's what we need right now.
100% is people need to see
what other people
where
live
people
like,
have
where
come
we're coming
from, and
yeah.
that doesn't mean a country. It means where they are coming from internally.
In here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we
See,
got there.
We got there. We ended on a positive
right
note. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank
Fajer.
you.